Hey, it's summer. It's fire season. Stay tuned. I'm going to share with you guys some of the steps I'm taking and some of the steps I had help with to mitigate wildfire danger on my homestead. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. Since day one, when I purchased Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, it was a mess. It was a mess, an overgrown mess. I began clearing the underbrush around the sites in which I was going to put my buildings, my outbuildings, and my home. We cleared a 50-foot area around this is called the defensible area, clearing all underbrush and taking tree limbs, low growing tree limbs, and then cutting them up. But I didn't have the right kind of tools to do this with. For me, it was working with an electric skill saw to cut the bigger trunked buckbrush, what we call it, out and get those thrown in a little bonfire. And then also the smaller pieces, I just had a pair of clippers, hand clippers, that's all I had. The limbs, a hand saw, for lack of a chainsaw. Hey, we were working on a very tight budget and I couldn't afford a chainsaw, let alone operate a chainsaw, because I have a pacemaker. In the instruction booklet in my pacemaker, the warning label says do not operate a chainsaw, so I wasn't operating a chainsaw. That is until I got a new pacemaker implanted, and now this new pacemaker allows me to operate a chainsaw. So I was gifted a chainsaw by Marty Rainey from Homestead Rescue. It was a battery operated one because at the time I had the old pacemaker and they understood that I had some limitations for using that kind of power tool. So with those limitations, I was able to clear a lot, but while they were here they cleared some stuff, and they also put a metal roof on my house to protect it from nearby wildfire ash storms that would rain down up on the roofs of the house. You'll notice that all the outbuildings have metal roofs also, and this helps protect the dwellings from above from falling ash. Last year we did have some falling ash land on the structures from a nearby wildfire about 2,000 feet that way. That was scary. Yes, we evacuated. So once they left, I kept clearing, and then I was able to afford a regular gas-powered chainsaw after I got the new pacemaker. So now I got a steel chainsaw, yes, and I'm able to fall the dead and dying trees and get those cut up, and also bigger brushes, and I'm virtually clearing all of my land. But there's something else I added to help mitigate fire danger on my farm. I added a small herd of goats to the farm. Yes. The evidence right here is, look what the goats have been doing. They've been eating up all the branches and limbs that they could reach from below up, and they've been clearing the underbrush and as well as the other grasses. I've had fire crews come to our property in the recent past, and one of the guys stated that my neighbors would be happy that my homestead is as fire protected as it is, because it will be a buffer zone from the fires protecting their land. So my land would protect their land. So that's a plus. That was a really nice compliment he gave me about the work that we tenaciously and steadfastly pursued in getting everything cleared out. You can see there's no underbrush and no fuels around the buildings. And that's partly due to the goats and also cutting me cutting the bigger pieces. I want to show you something else I did to help protect the homestead against flames if they should get into the dry grasses from the neighboring properties that I have no control over. Now this is the neighboring property, undeveloped, raw, full of low brush, dry grasses, kind of tall dry grasses. So if an ember should get in there, that would burn and come right up to my fence line. But if you notice, I have a nice flame barrier right along the fence line where it's exposed, but there's nothing on this side to really be concerned about being torchable. Now, when we do get a fire outbreak within the area, I do set out 3 sprinklers in strategic locations to protect buildings. Yes, I would dampen down all of the vegetation that is there, and just as a precautionary measure, and then douse any embers that may land and cause spot fires. So that way, around the dwellings, the buildings, they're going to be protected for the most part by sprinkler system. Now going back to this dry grass back here on the other side of the fence line, that's not my property. I can't do a thing on that other side of the fence line. But what I can do is if that catches on fire, I can put a stop at my fence line. Let me show you my creative jerry rig. Yep, you heard me, of using resourced material that I got for free and using it as a fire barrier. This metal corrugated roofing material that somebody didn't want anymore, but I took it, stockpiled it, and looked at it and said, you know what, I'm going to resource it one day. So I have resource piles, not junk piles. So I resourced these and I thought, you know what, I could use those as flame barriers because they're a real thick gauge metal. And they will stop, if that grass catches on fire, it will at least stop the flames right here at that metal barrier. And it's on the other side of the fence post, so the flames won't get to the wooden fence posts and catch the fence posts on fire. Let me show you another system that I am currently working on to implement for fire suppression. This is all preventative measures for preventing fire from doing damage to your buildings. Never mind if the land burns, the land will recover, but to mitigate the fire from reaching buildings, just clear out all the vegetation away from your buildings. And I'm clearing it all out. From everything from within my fence line, with the exception of the mountain back here, I'm just leaving that. Behind me here is my well, and behind the well is a storage tank. It is a 2,500 gallon capacity water tank which will store water from my well. Now, when you're in an area prone to wildfires, chances are, which we have experienced in recent years, the power's going to go out. Yeah, you're going to lose power. So since we're on a well that operates on electricity, then you run out of water because your holding tank in your well only holds so much water. I do have a 5,000 watt generator that's gasoline powered to mount right here, and I'll be mounting it on a cement slab, put a little protector around it, and get it ready so I can plug it in, you know, crank it on, plug it in, and supply power to the well. The well is 2-phase, it's 220, so that 5,000 watt generator is sufficient enough to run the well while it's to fill the tank for fire suppression. But gasoline goes bad after a while. Aha! So I'm purchasing a kit to retrofit the gasoline powered generator and convert it to, you got it, propane. Because propane, you can store almost indefinitely. I said almost indefinitely in a bottle. and have it ready to go at a moment's notice, where gas will oxidize and go bad within a year. And you don't want that in your tank, because when you know, after a couple of years, you come out and try to start your generator, it ain't gonna start, or you're gonna have a very difficult time getting it going. But so propane, we're gonna put a bottle in here, we're gonna secure it, we're gonna put flame barriers around it to protect it, but there's nothing around here that's gonna burn. The goats have taken care of it. So that's it. That's my story on what I've done over the past 8 years since I purchased Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, and started from day one to begin the mitigation process of fire fuels around my homestead. And now we're working on fire suppression. I do have a fire extinguisher sitting on a tree out here, and it's covered. And this is in an area of the homestead where we don't have a water supply. And one of the reasons why it's here is this is our egress, our escape route to get out. And if we need to grab it to douse a flame so we can get out in case we do get trapped in and we need to get out, we have this as a standby to help us do that escape. Yeah, this is the neighboring property, and it scares me. So I've got to take as many steps as I can to try to keep the flames back so we can either escape or defend in place, or just mitigate the fire danger altogether around the homes. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, sharing with you guys the steps I've been taking to while living in an area that is susceptible to wildfires. It's wildfire season. We have the nation's largest wildfire with the bootleg fire burning to the east of us, but thank goodness it's 70 miles away. No worries right now. Stay tuned to more videos. You can do that by subscribing, then clicking that bell icon. That'll alert you to new videos as I upload them. Give us a thumbs up and like the show. Click that share button. Sharing our videos on your social media platforms helps us out. Leave a comment. Be safe. Always be kind and be prepared. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.